Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm with NatureMade, and joining me today is Dr. Susan Mitmesser, who is the head of scientific research for NatureMade and Nourished by NatureMade, which is our new personalized vitamin and supplement subscription service. Hey, Susan.
Hi, Daniel. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. So, this is our last installment in our sort of mini series on sleep. But today we're going to shift gears and kind of look at a more sort of proactive part of the story, which is things that we can do to support better sleep. So let's just dive right in and let's talk about it. What are ways that I can do to improve my sleep?
Well, fortunately, there's a lot you can do, I'm happy to say. But you may have heard of the term sleep hygiene.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is it's just the development of certain practices and habits that promote good nighttime sleep. But at the end, really, the result we want to feel as human beings is a productive daytime alertness. And so that's really what sleep hygiene is kind of setting that foundation and putting your ecosystem of sleep things that help you sleep better. So if you recall some of the statistics I shared last time, that when you don't get enough sleep, you're at a higher risk for obesity. Remember, 50% higher risk if you're not sleeping enough. But also, you're 4 times more likely to catch a cold.
Yep.
And don't forget the other pillars of good health. So some of the top behaviors that improve sleep hygiene include screen time, and that is decreasing screen time 1 hour at least before bedtime. And what emerging research is showing is that that screen projects light that triggers a part of the brain that slows the production of melatonin in your body. And remember, there's that nice dance of melatonin and cortisol. And so as you go to sleep, your melatonin levels rise. And so decreasing screen exposure is really helpful. Avoiding alcohol and tobacco or excessive amounts. Interestingly enough, when your body starts to metabolize alcohol, many times you actually wake up because of the process in the middle of the night. And so it's not uncommon if you've had an excessive amount of alcohol around 2 a.m., you may actually wake up. But also sleep times are very important. So the time you go to bed and then the time you wake, it's very important to try and keep those consistent. So I know that's hard. Many people are on different weekday schedules and weekend schedules, but really staying on the same schedule throughout the week is pretty important. I'm super guilty of that. My family makes fun of me because they know call times are ceased at 8 p.m. and I will be winding down for my bedtime routine around then. But those are some really great habits to start incorporating to improve your sleep.
Great. That's really helpful. Actually, the screen thing's really interesting to me because I am a victim of that. And I'll do it in my room, especially if I wake up in the middle of the night. And when you wake up and you cannot go back to, you're awake, that's the first thing I reach for. But then, thinking about that, I'm in a dark room with this light in my face. It's like, it's probably actually making it harder for me to go back to sleep.
Yeah. And Daniel, in that situation, what's recommended is to actually get out of bed. If you wake and you're having a hard time falling back to sleep, actually getting out of bed, changing your environment, and then going back a little bit later.
Oh, interesting. Okay, I'll give that a shot.
Right.
And kind of moving away from or into this idea of ways that we can improve sleep. You had talked about in a previous video that link between certain nutrient deficiencies and inadequate sleep. So I was wondering if you could kind of expand on that a little bit before we start talking about food specifically.
Sure. So first, research shows that 1/3 of U.S. adults routinely experience less than 7 hours of sleep a night. And remember, that sweet spot for adults is 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Yeah. 1/3 of the population. And then almost half of them state poor quality of sleep. So to your point earlier, maybe they're waking up and they can't fall back asleep. It's the quality of sleep that's not good. Half of adults. So that's significant. So which we want to make sure that we're addressing it, right? And so that we are promoting better quality and quantity of sleep. And in a recent study that we did at Nature Made and Nourish was to really look at that interconnectedness of those individuals that are not sleeping well, so have sleep quantity, and the nutrients that they intake. And we found that there is a significant association with 14 nutrients, micronutrients in women, that they're not getting enough of those nutrients and they are not sleeping enough. So they're getting less than 7 hours of sleep. And that association is really interesting because it sets the foundation for what we need to further investigate. So it's really interesting data. But one of the things I'd like to highlight is what are some of those nutrients? There are 14. I won't list them all. We can absolutely provide them. But I'd like to highlight some that are also known to be public health concerns. So calcium, magnesium, vitamins A, C, and D.
So what are really good food sources for those that you wanted to highlight specifically?
Sure. So let's talk about calcium. And obvious sources of calcium are dairy products, cheese, yogurt, milk. But there are individuals that do not consume calcium for a variety of reasons, maybe an intolerance or an allergy. And so calcium is also found in dark green leafy vegetables, sardines, and some beans and lentils as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the next vitamin I'd like to highlight is vitamin D. It complements calcium so nicely. So let's talk about that one next. Great sources of that include fatty fish. So your next question, fatty fish. So it's going to be things like sardines, tuna, salmon, great sources of vitamin D, but also egg yolks. And don't forget, in the US, our milk is fortified many times with vitamin D. So milk can be a good source of vitamin D. Magnesium is typically found as a good source in nuts and seeds, and believe it or not, also avocados. So that's another nutrient that has been associated with short sleep. So making sure you have enough magnesium is very important. Vitamin A, which we talked about, if you remember, related to the immune system and how important it is in developing the proper immune system. And vitamin A is found in cod liver oil, but it's most known to be found in dark vegetables, so carrots, sweet potatoes, things like that. And then vitamin C, also a nutrient, very much involved in the immune system, most notably in citrus fruits, but also you can find vitamin C in dark green leafy vegetables, berries, and melons.
So, what's interesting to me about where food source, just, it kind of reinforced this idea, because this is always really thinking about, it's been important to me to think about how these things, like, one food item is offering your body so many different nutrients, right? So that idea, again, of vitamin A and vitamin C is supporting your immune system. If you're eating citrus, you're doing it for that, but it also has an impact on your sleep. And I just think sort of that sort of how interconnected it all is something that I don't think about or haven't thought about as much. So I always find that really interesting, sort of putting together all these different pieces to have this really sort of balanced diet that's doing so many different things and supporting so many different systems in your body.
Yeah, it's the foods are interconnected with our body systems, and the body systems are interconnected with each other. So the thing that I always think about is for individuals that purposefully are eliminating a food group or food types, because to your point, these foods are helping with many body systems and proper growth and development and maintenance. And so if you're eliminating, I'll use calcium as an example, you need to ensure that you're getting a good calcium source from something, whether it is dairy products, dark green leafies, or a dietary supplement where you know that you're getting a great source of it to complement the foods perhaps that you're eating, because you need that for a lot of different proper development.
Right. And with so many different sort of diets out there, not even diet's the wrong word, but like we've got paleo, we've got keto, there's so many different ways people are now approaching how they eat that obviously creates sort of those nutrient gaps as well. So to your point, it's important to sort of know what you're eating and what you're getting, and then sort of help supplement that, in some other way.
And what you're not. What
Yes,
you're
right.
eating and
That's
getting,
sorry.
but what you're not. Let's fill that gap. That's my mantra. Let's fill the gap.
So in your opinion, what else can someone do? Like, what's a key thing that someone could do to improve their sleep?
Something that people may not recognize or associate with good sleep hygiene is physical activity, especially doing physical activity in the morning or afternoon. This actually can improve sleep quality. Remember when we talked initially about the dance between melatonin and cortisol? Well,
Yep.
your body temperature also drops when you sleep. And so when you exercise, your body temperature raises. And if you exercise in the latter part of the day, your body temperature may not actually have time to decrease to help promote sleep. And so it can almost stimulate you more than make you drowsy. But if you exercise in the earlier part of the day, your body temperature has enough time to start to drop, and that actually stimulates drowsiness. So exercise can stimulate that, but also exercising outside. So remember, we talked a lot about exposure to light and how light helps regulate your sleep-wake cycle. And so exercising outside when you have the opportunity will help establish that sleep-wake cycle.
Oh, interesting. Is it because your body tells you, oh, it's kind of is it like, is your body being told by that? Like as there's less light in the day, right? Kind of towards the evening, it's kind of telling your body, oh, it's like giving a natural sort of cue, I guess.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the same as if you exercise in the morning, your body's cued that, oh, it's wake time. The sun's coming up. You're now being exposed to brighter light. And so you're decreasing your production of melatonin at that time, right?
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Wow. So I didn't know that. So that's another thing that's good to know is how much physical activity impacts so many different parts of our health and our body. So that's really informative. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I always recommend when somebody says they're not sleeping well is, are you exercising?
Yeah.
And what time of day are you exercising? See if that might help.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good to know. Good, good. Well, I think I have, and I'm just making it personal, but I think over the last several years, my sleep has gotten better. I typically sleep 7 hours a day and I sleep kind of around the same time, but it's mostly because of like workouts and commute. But it's like getting in that habit, I think has really helped me stay asleep longer. Or if I wake up in the middle of the night, it's easier for me to go back to sleep. Because it used to be in the past, I would just wake up and then kind of do other things and look at my phone. And then it's this like sort of cycle of keeping me awake.
Right, right. Well, let's all make it a goal to improve our sleep hygiene.
So eat better, exercise regularly, sort of a regular sleep schedule as much as possible. And then, of course, eating the right foods that are giving your body nutrients that help promote good sleep.
Absolutely. You got it, Daniel.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us and really enlightening us on, sleep and how important it is and ways that we can sort of support better sleep. So thank you very much.
My pleasure. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Yep. Bye.